You're watching Wellness Wednesdays, brought to you by Sang Pediatrics.
It is Wellness Wednesday. Thank you so much, Dr. Sang from Sang Pediatrics, for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
We got a lot of questions, and we think some people at home might have them as well. So we're hoping you can chat with us today about obesity and diabetes in kids.
Absolutely.
So first off, I know that this can be a scary topic for a lot of kids. There are a lot of parents. You know, let's start with obesity first. How can a parent tell if their child's at a healthy weight? I know a lot of times people think, you know, baby fat, they might grow out of it. You know, what should parents first be looking at?
You know, we don't diagnose obesity until they're 2 years old. I mean, it's not fair, as you noted, for a baby to have the baby fat, and we can diagnose that. Additionally, you know, babies can't walk and they don't burn off calories, and so we wait until 2 years old where we start measuring the body mass index, or the BMI, and then on the scale of the BMI, if you're over the 95th percentile, meaning that, you know, you basically weigh more than 5% of your cohort, you're pretty much diagnosed with obesity. And I want to emphasize that obesity is a disease. It's not, we're not labeling people, we're not trying to shame anybody, we're just trying to treat them, because with obesity, right, there are problems, as you noted. One of the problems can be type 2 diabetes, where you have too much sugar in your body. And the #1 cause of obesity in America is just sugar. And so there's a lot of societal factors that play into trying to push sugar onto the kids. You know, we can't do a fundraiser without trying to sell candy bars.
Of course. No, we see it all over us.
Yeah, and I love those candy bars. I think they're outstanding. But at the same time, they're very addictive and they're bad for me, so I try to stay away from them. But for the kids, you know, they can't really make those decisions. And so what are we trying to do to these kids? Trying to put sugar on them all the time. Even all the sugary cereals, we think, okay, this is kids' food, but at the same time, it's just pure sugar.
You know, for children, are there worse health factors or worse risks for them being having obesity than it is for adults? I mean, is this more damaging for children? Yeah,
because, you know, their bones are growing, okay? So one of the other risks that can occur when they have diabetes is they get hip dislocation.
Oh.
But yeah, because their hip isn't completely solidified yet, and all that weight, okay, that they're putting on their body, gravity is still pushing down, and so it can cause what we call, it's basically a hip dislocation, and it needs surgery for obese children who are usually, and it happens usually between 10 and 14 years old, and so you want a 10 and 14-year-old with a hip dislocation.
No.
Yeah, can you imagine?
That's a tough age as it is already.
Absolutely, and that's something that I've actually treated personally myself, and so it's really difficult to watch, and just because of sugar. So I'd rather not have your child or anybody else's child go through that.
And so as a society, it can be hard to talk about obesity. We don't want to shame parents, we don't want to shame children, but how can people know when it's time to make healthy changes and when they need to see professional help with this? Okay, so at Sang Pediatrics, every time you come in for your annual physical or semi-annual physical, we're going to talk about it, because that's part of the reason why we do these things is for preventive care. And so we will talk about, and at Sang Pediatrics, we also do testing. And we do a lot of tests, but one of the tests we do is a lipid profile, which looks at cholesterol and the amount of fat in the blood. And so if that's abnormal, then we're gonna have to have a serious discussion, because that, as you know, can lead to heart disease. And so we don't want that. If it's long-standing, we want to be able to prevent that. I mean, quickly, just what are some misconceptions people might have about diabetes in children? It's just such a scary word to be hearing. If your child might be diagnosed with that, parents really want to know the truth.
Well, the truth is that there's two types of diabetes. One that requires an insulin shot and one that's not. And the one that's not is when the body becomes resistant to the insulin, and that's when it's usually due to the obesity. So the thing is that that's very reversible. You know, it's not a death sentence, and it's not forever. Good habits die hard. And so if you eat your fruits and vegetables, that's really all you really need to do. Just eat healthy and live a healthy lifestyle. And it's always the parents who set the example for the children.
Of course.
So if the parents are doing it, the child will follow. I know all about picky eating. I have 3 girls myself, you know, but it's not impossible. And my kids eat their salad, okay? They really do, and it's no joke, and they like it, and I like it too. So if we can do it, you can do it too.
That might be a topic for next time, picky eating.
Oh yeah,
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we at Seeing Pediatrics, we see everything. So let's do this. Any topic you want, Catherine.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Sang, and thank you for watching. We will have more Wellness Wednesday segments on our website, yourcentralvalley.com.